Welcome back to the Hurry Up Offense, fantasy football news and advice for Week 8 of the NFL fantasy football season. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Let's go. Today's topic is all about the landscape of running backs right now in the NFL. We've been talking about breakouts, so this was originally supposed to be about running back breakouts, but I figured since running backs tend to break out as soon as they get into the NFL, if they are that talented and in the right situation, it's kind of hard to really just predict running backs because it happens. So we're just going to talk all about, why do I keep saying talk, like I'm from New York. We're going to talk all about dogs. No, we're going to talk about the running back landscape and what is going on, what should be going on. But first, let's get into the news. Speaking of breakouts, Miles Sanders is week to week with an ankle injury. Now, this is troublesome. Miles Sanders is an excellent running back. We know this. Actually, some of you do not know this. I'm really tired of hearing some of you fantasy players say that Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley are not good at football. This is the quote that a lot of you like to throw around. These two are phenomenal athletes at the running back position. These guys are great, and they just have been in bad situations and struck with bad luck lately. Miles Sanders is still dealing with his sophomore slump. So is Saquon Barkley. And he's been in the game 1 year longer. I mean, these guys actually followed each other and were on the same team together at Penn State. These guys were phenomenal running backs and still are. Let's hope they can put it together and still end up bouncing back from this horrible luck those two have been having. Jerry Jeudy is back for week 8. Now, Jerry Jeudy was in the very early stages of his second year breakout season when he went down to the awful high ankle sprain. That kicked him out of a few games earlier this season. Now, I am hoping Jerry Jeudy can get right back in the swing of things and continue his breakout season, because it was going to be great for Jerry Jeudy had this not happened. Problem is, the team is not looking great right now, and Teddy Bridgewater is not very efficient at the moment, and he's just not giving the guys enough targets to see what could be a breakout season. Now, I'm hoping this is going to change. Downfield opportunities are going to open up with Jerry Jeudy back and Cortland Sutton on the other side. This should work. I'm hoping Jerry Jeudy is going to finish the rest of the season and have a phenomenal breakout. I would suppose you guys have already heard that Allen Lazard and Davante Adams are on the COVID IR list for the time being, and they will not play in Thursday night's game. This sucks. But I'm guessing Randall Cobb is going to get the majority of the work. That is Aaron Rodgers' favorite target outside of Davante Adams, so he's probably going to be in for a good workload. So if you have him on a deep league or something, or if you want to play him in a Thursday night DFS situation, this is going to be a great pickup because he's going to get peppered, I believe. I don't think there's any way around it. However, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to be back for week 8, and he may see, well, he's definitely going to see an uptick in his volume considering the situation. He may be an acceptable number 2 behind Randall Cobb. We'll see how that plays out. If you play in a league that allows independent defensive players, take note of this right here. Khalil Mack is expected to miss week 8, and Jabril Peppers is done for the season. Don't miss this and leave these guys in your lineup. It is very easy to forget about your IDP slot, so check for those guys. Get them out of there. I would suggest not really looking too hard for their replacements. IDP guys tend to score right around the same numbers depending on the scoring of your league, and they're almost a dime a dozen at this point. So, of course, you want to go for the good ones. Like Khalil Mack was great for what he was at defensive line. But you can easily replace that amount of points with someone comparable. Just wanted to throw that in since I hardly ever mention IDP. Antonio Brown is still out of practice right now, and he was spotted walking around with crutches today. Or Wednesday, depending on when you listen to this. So, I would not expect him in your lineup this week. Stick with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It's working out quite well. But Gronk is back at practice this week and has a chance to play this week. Now, we know that Gronk before this injury this year was phenomenal. He was on pace to break all kinds of tight end records. But who knows after this injury, it's a rib injury. I don't know that he's just going to get right back in there and play at 100%. And if Brady is even going to feel that comfortable with him. Now, obviously, that is his best friend on the football field. But it's really tough. If you have the luxury of it, I would hold him on the bench for 1 week and see what happens before you throw him right back in there. Tyrod Taylor is expected to return from his hamstring injury. And if you've been playing Davis Mills, I really feel sorry for you, but you will be excited to have something else. Although, I wouldn't be excited about this at all. If you have to play Tyrod Taylor, you're either in a really, really deep league with a quarterback premium or something like that, or I just feel really sorry for you. That is not the position you want to be in, depending on Tyrod Taylor. If it's a 1 QB league and you're depending on Tyrod Taylor, dude, this is bad. This is bad. You're going to have to drastically overhaul your team because that is not going to work. Anyway, he'll be back. Jarvis Landry made his return last Thursday, and he is out again. Now, I'm hearing that this is not related to the MCL injury that he suffered in week 2. This is a different problem, and it's in his knee this time. I could have sworn the MCL was part of the knee, but then again, I'm not a doctor. Who knows? Terry McLaurin is out of practice Wednesday with his ankle injury. Antonio Gibson is limited in practice because he still hasn't fully recovered yet. Oh man, my breakout, my man Deebo Samuel is out with a calf injury right now. I hope he plays because that guy is on one massive breakout season right now. It's going to be great if he can continue this. And once again, DeAndre Hopkins is starting to look like Julio Jones, where he seems to be injured before, during, and after every game at this point. I think he's going to play. I really hope he's going to play. But I'm getting tired of seeing him on the injury report. Get better, DeAndre. We need you. Real quick, the Wednesday evening news dump. T.Y. Hilton is still out on Wednesday. He just came back and he's back out again. Jonnu Smith is limited on Wednesday. So, if you really need him, I hope you don't. But if you do, don't expect too much out of him this week. You should have Hunter Henry in the first place. Anyway, Mark Ingram has been traded to the Saints. Can you believe that? He's going back to the Saints to once again be number 2 in line behind Alvin Kamara. Wow, this could actually be productive. Remember last time he was there? It was great for fantasy. Both of those guys scored a lot. Let's hope for that again. That is it for the news this week. Let's move on to the game theory portion of the show, where we are talking about running backs and how fitting is that Mark Ingram is going back to be the number 2 to Alvin Kamara. Yes, this could work out. It's worked out before. Was a different quarterback. The offense looked a little different back then, but this could work out. Ingram still has some tread left on the tires. We've already talked about Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley. We know their situations. These guys could at any moment return to the field and give you high-end production because they are that talented. And that's what we're talking about. Guys like Najee Harris. When you take a player that is in a great position behind a great offensive line, although the Steelers' offensive line is not what it used to be back when Le'Veon Bell and D'Angelo Williams were there. But when you give a guy enough work, he's going to have a breakout season, especially when he is immensely talented like a first-round pick. First-round picks at running back tend to break out almost every time. Rarely does it not work out. Sometimes a Ronald Jones doesn't hit. But most of the time, a first-round running back is going to be a breakout for you in their very first season. Guys, I'm desperately out of time, but in summation, just remember to hold on to your first-round running backs, even if they are having a bad season. Now, maybe we'll get into the sophomore slump, because you do have to be really careful when you are going all in on a second-year, first-round running back, because the sophomore slump happens more often than it doesn't when a running back has already broken out in his rookie season. It just happens. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. Guys, I'm desperately out of time, like I said. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Beyond Football channel. And if you want to watch Alex and I, or listen to actually, Alex and I break down every game every single week of the NFL season, please tune in to Scoreboard. It came out earlier today before you were hearing this. Go look for it and subscribe to Beyond Football channel. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. I'll see you next week. Deuces.